job of getting on the ball. Now you got the same job.
My best.
All right, yes, we're moving on to 2018-208B-block website.
Chairman, I'd like to start representing the mayor on this case of the offices at 16 Cherry Street. This is the application of D-Block LLC.
He's not coming. We're getting a signal from about council. They can't hear you.
Use a microphone, please.
Just use the mic, please.
If you don't mind, I'll sit down. It's
It is okay.
Mark it.
so short I would have thought I was close enough standing up. That's the way it goes. D-Block LLC is the owner of 499 Highway 36. It's also known as Block 265, about 70 on the tax map. The application before you is an application for preliminary final major site plan approval to construct an automated car wash facility. The conditional use permit is also required. This is a permitted conditional use in the zone and complies with all the conditional use requirements and standards. The variance is required for buildable lot area, although the lot is of sufficient size under the zone. It does have environmental constraints so that the buildable lot area is reduced. Mr. Pepe will go through that in his engineering testimony. There are also several design standard waivers also required as a result of the environmental constraints. The property is a 3.7 acre vacant tract on the northerly side of Route 36, and the constraints include Compton's Creek and associated wetlands that are on the site. The applicant has applied for and received NJDEP wetland letter of interpretation. The applicant has also applied for and received CAPRA approval for this site. The applicant has also applied for and received NJDOT approval. So all those approvals are already applied for and in place with respect to the application before you. We also work with the Township Fire Marshal to make the plans acceptable, and the Fire Department Planning and Advisory Board has submitted a report indicating no comments on the application. The property is bordered to the south by Route 36, to the west by SCW Aviation Heliport and Roadrunner Seal Coating. To the north there are the wetlands, and further north beyond the wetlands are single-family homes in residential development. To the east is the Compton's Creek, and beyond that a playground and shed dealer. The site plan proposes to develop approximately 1.2 acres of the site with a 2-story car wash building with a building footprint of 3,288 square feet and floor area of 5,136 square feet. There will also be associated driveways, curb, sidewalks, drainage, landscaping, and lighting. And I will be presenting 4 witnesses this evening. The first will be Brian Marshall, who is the principal of D-Block, who is just going to briefly address the comments in the engineers and planners letter, just requesting information about the operations of the site. I will also be presenting Brent Pappy as a licensed professional engineer who will review the site plan and technical comments from your engineer and from your planner. Anthony Yours is a licensed architect who will address the architectural features of the proposal, and Allison Coffin will be back in cleanup as a professional planner addressing the variance issue. And with that regard, I would ask that Mr. Marshall be sworn.
He's raised right now. First one, it's ready. Oh, one person. Swear to testimony not to be the board's truth, all truth, and what yourself you got. And your name and your address.
Brian Marshall, 399 East End Avenue, Belford.
Hey, Brian, go to He's going to get closer. You get closer to that microphone. Okay, go ahead.
Brian, what's your relationship to the applicant D-Block LLC?
Founder.
And are you familiar with the application that's before the board?
Yes.
And the application is proposed under your direction?
Yes.
Okay. And you're familiar with the operation of the car wash proposed there?
Yes.
And the engineer and planner indicated that the board should know about the hours of operation, the proposed hours of operation.
8 a.m. to 10 p.m.
And how many employees will be at this facility?
1.
And there was a question about how many deliveries will be received and what kind of vehicles that will be received.
1 per week with a box truck come in the rear of the building.
And what kind of products are delivered to the site?
50-gallon drums of cleaners, drying agents, shampoos.
And they're stored inside the building?
Correct.
And the loading and unloading, where will that occur? At the rear of the building?
To the rear of the building.
And with regard to trash, well, with regard to the time of delivery, when are deliveries made?
Before the hours of operation.
And so it would be before 8 a.m. in the morning?
Correct.
And there will be, well, there will also be in the building, the upstairs will be your office. Is that correct?
Correct.
And there could be the trash and recyclables generated on site, how will they be addressed?
Through the receptacles that are given from Middletown.
And will those receptacles be maintained indoors until the day of trash pickup?
Correct, indoors.
And the refuse pickup will be as scheduled by the township, is that right?
2 times a week, yes.
And as far as the equipment within the building, how will that equipment be maintained? What frequency will be performed?
Daily cleaning and then as needed maintenance, usually monthly checks.
Okay, and who performs that maintenance?
Combination cleaning is the employees and the manufacturer comes in and does maintenance.
And is that done during normal business hours?
No,
When is it done?
after hours.
And just briefly describe what is a car wash cycle? What happens with a car wash in this country?
After hours, it's a loosely worded answer, but that could be
I mean,
from 7 to
during-
9 o'clock to 3 o'clock in the morning, but
Sure. I would say, as soon as you close down, that's when you start the process of cleaning and doing maintenance.
And is that done internally to the building?
Correct.
This is machinery that's all within the building itself?
Correct.
And
Can I interrupt for a minute, please? Can we go back to the hours of operation? What are the hours of operation?
8 to 10.
10 p.m.
Correct.
in a car wash?
Some are 24 hours, no?
No, I'm asking because I've never seen a car wash around here that's open like that.
Okay. This is a self-serve car wash, so really it could be open 24 hours if need be. We're not asking for that, we're asking for 8 to 10.
No, I understand that. I wanted to be clear on what the hours were because I never heard of that.
Okay.
Thank you.
You guys submitted a document that actually said 24/7. Is this not applicable anymore? It's a narrative from November 1st, 2018.
yes, it's not a, we reduce the hours.
Those hours, 8 to 10 p.m., Monday through Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
So it's 7 days a week, but we would adjust it based on season. That would be the longest we would be open, but say winter months we would go shorter.
Can you just
did I hear you say, I'm sorry, Mike, did I hear you say there's one employee?
Correct. The one employee at all times would be on the site.
Okay.
Just one question about the trash pickup. Are you sure the township picks up trash for a business?
Yes, all the businesses right next to me do the same thing.
And for some reason they don't, you have arranged for a private pickup?
Not to reach your private pickup.
Just want to make sure.
And just briefly take the board through a cycle. When somebody comes in to get the car wash, what happens?
So there's a kiosk. If you're a monthly member, it'll be scanned. The gate will open up. You pull up. It'll tell you when to stop. It's a track that you put your car in park. The track pulls you along. Everything is done with wash. It washes, cleans. It also dries it at the end. When it's done, it will tell you to put your car in park, drive and go. There's nobody outside drying the car. You don't get out of the car. It's pretty cut and dry.
Will there be vacuum cleaner?
Sure, there's 4 vacuum cleaners when you exit the car wash that you can choose to go to the vacuum or exit the lot. That you do by yourself, self-serve.
So you wash the car first. If you want to do the inside, you do that after.
Correct, yes.
Do you also do a waxing, they call undercarriage and waxing?
Sure.
And is that initially you have to push a certain button what you want?
Correct, yes, there'll be 3 or 4 different levels that you can choose from.
I see.
And you will have vacuums?
Yes, there's
Outside.
4 vacuums outside after the car wash.
They'll shut off automatically when the hours of operation are over.
Correct, yes. We will still have lighting and cameras all over the buildings for outside and in the back. That will stay on after the close of business.
You mentioned that this was, you said something about monthly membership.
Sure.
Is that open to the general public or do you have to have a membership? Or can anyone go out there and
No, anyone can drive with any time.
even if you don't have a membership?
Correct, if you don't have a membership, then it'll have the option to pay by credit card, cash, what have you.
You said you get your shampoos and your supplies in 55-gallon drums. So you dispose of those drums, or do they take them back?
Yeah, so they take them back, they'll drop 3, take 3.
Is this your business or is this a franchise of some sort?
It's my business.
It's very interesting.
Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Anyone from the public?
I would ask Mr. Patrick to speak.
Please raise your right hand, swear testimony about the report, truth, whole truth, full truth.
I do.
And your full name and business address?
Yes, Frank Neal Pappy Jr., and my business is East Point Engineering at 11 South Main Street, Marlboro, New Jersey.
And your P is state of New Jersey?
I'm a PE, professionally licensed engineer. I'm a certified municipal engineer. Graduate Bachelor's of Science from Rutgers, College of Engineering. I'm a borough planning board engineer at Spring Lake Heights. I've been practicing for over 20 years and appeared before various boards, appeared before this board. I'm also a resident in Middletown.
Can you just briefly describe to the board what it is that you were requested to do in connection with this application? And then go through the site itself. Let me just turn the switch in.
Yeah, we'll start with the existing conditions. This is sheet 3 of 14 in this site plan set that you all received. It's entitled Existing Conditions and Demolition Plan. And I'd just like to go through it very briefly, just to outline what the site
Did
currently.
you mark that as A1, because I think the one before that doesn't have the color on it.
Yes. So this is existing condition plan is a survey prepared by Gallus Surveying back in 2017. It was later updated in 2019 for the subject property, which is located in Fort Monmouth section of Middletown. It's address 499 Route 36, block 265, lot 70, on the township tax map. It's fact map sheet number 37. The total area of the site is approximately 161,172 square feet, which is 3.7 acres. It's owned by the applicant. Property is located in the B3 Business Zone District. It's bordered by Compton's Creek, shown here in blue, along the easterly lot line. Okay. Road corner paving is on the westerly side. There's also an aviation heliport on the westerly side. Across the highway is another vacant piece of land. It's also in the B3 zone. And to the north of the property, about 200 feet away or so from our project site, there's a residential zone. It's R2. Excuse me. The site's currently undeveloped. There's class 1 and class 2 critical areas on the property, which have been verified by the NJDEP for permitting that we've obtained. The critical areas are overgrown with vegetation. They're shown here at the back. The class 1 areas are here in blue pretty much. And the class 2 areas include the wetlands and the wetland buffer, the transition area. The 50-foot buffer here on the property that was verified by an LOI.
So as a result of those constraints, what portion of the site is actually developable and proposed for development in this project?
Approximately 1.2 acres towards the front of the property can be developed. That's this area shaded right here in the front. It's bounded pretty much by the wetland buffer, the transition area here, which is 50 foot. And then also there's a sanitary sewer easement shown here in pink at the front of the property where the sewer main, the 8-inch sewer main crosses right through the property along the frontage. So this is our building envelope right here, it's 1.2 acres. As State Highway Route 36, property fronts Route 36 on the westbound side. 4-lane highway, 2 lanes in each direction, you're all familiar with it. I'd just like to talk about the critical areas a little bit more. The last one, critical areas, consists of the Compton's Creek, which is a tidal waterway. It has associated floodway. The extents shown here with this dash line into the property. It's delineated on the plan based on a firm map. The firm map number, like it's 340.5C0061F. The map also indicated that the site is located within the flood zone AE with an elevation, base flood elevation of 12 feet. The creek also has an associated coastal wetlands and a 50-foot riparian zone shown here in orange. So as you can see, the site's bounded by a lot of constraints. The Class 2 critical areas consist of freshwater wetlands, which I previously mentioned, shown here in green, and the 50-foot transition area buffer, which have been verified by the DEP and LOI that was issued on July 23, 2018.
So do those environmental features result in constraints in terms of engineering this property?
Oh, absolutely.
And they also result in the requirement for a variance because we don't have the required buildable lot area requirements now.
That's correct. The buildable lot area, as I mentioned, is 1.2 acres. It's due to these critical areas where the easement and the transition area exist. We're also honoring a 75-foot landscape buffer requirement in the ordinance section 549.22C1, which constrains our envelope even further. I'll flip to that sheet.
Bottom line, with respect to the variance that is being requested, no matter what is built on this site, whether it would be this car wash or something else, it will require that variance.
That's
what
correct.
built on this site.
That's correct.
Okay, continue.
This is not question. What's the buffer for the, you said it's a Class 1 waterway? What's the buffer required?
The Class 1 waterway has a 50-foot riparian zone associated with it, shown here in orange along the entire length of the waterway. And it also has this floodway here in blue, which is highlighted on the plan.
It's 50, we don't have 50.
It's a 50-foot riparian zone associated with the Compton's Creek. It's a tidal floodway, so there's a floodway line shown on the plan here as well. And all this information is verified by the DEP via the permit that we already obtained, and it also comes from the FEMA map, which is published mapping that you can find online.
And the permit you've received includes an LOI.
Yes.
And it also has capital permits.
General permits, wetlands, transition area permits, capital permits. I'll get to that in a little bit more.
Go ahead.
So,
Your leash is getting short.
well, yeah, I just want to keep everything. So with careful consideration, as you can see, we've positioned the building. It's a 2-story car wash, as mentioned, with a footprint area of 3,288 square feet. It's centered within the buildable lot area here. The 75-foot landscape buffer is this dashed line here. So as you can see, it's shoehorned in there pretty much. The building itself is a permitted conditional use in the B3 zone, which our plan is here to provide more testimony on that. The building will house an office, bathroom, mechanical room, single-lane car wash tunnel, which the architect is here to describe. Required mechanical equipment will be on a platform within the first floor of the building, which is at elevation 18. The platform is well above the base flood elevation for safety purposes. The main only vehicular access to the lot will be from this existing curb cut out here. Per the NJDOT minor highway access permit we had to shift it over slightly to accommodate the setback to the property line. This is consistent. The DOT also approved this particular use with this driveway. There's a 30-foot wide paved access into the site. As Mike mentioned, the DOT issued a permit on September 25th, 2018. As you enter into the driveway veers to the right. As you can see, the stacked vehicles here, and they lead toward the front entrance of the drive-through of the car wash, which is on the east side. Cars enter on the east side. They pass through the car wash. There's 15, let's talk about stacked vehicles. The driveway is long enough to accommodate 15 stacked vehicles, which is required by ordinance. That's based on 3 cars that can be in the wash at one time. And the wash process, I should say, at one time. After paying at the kiosk, the cars enter the wash tunnel on the east end, and on the west end they exit, where they have the option to pull head on into these 4 vacuum parking spaces, or they have the decision to make a left-hand turn to provide escape drive-through lane at the rear of the car wash facility for anyone who chooses not to enter or decides they don't, for whatever reason, they want to skip through it. And there's a stop condition at the end of that driveway for safety. It's a self-wash, as Brian mentioned, self-serve car wash that will be completely self-automated. And the requirement for employee parking does not apply in that case. However, the applicant is proposing 2 parallel employee parking spaces alongside the building toward the rear. They're located right here. One of them is ADA accessible, and there's a handicap ramp just added into that handicap space, which lets you get into the back door, into the main entry of the car wash where there's bathroom facilities.
The ADA space didn't have an access level.
Well, per your letter, we'll provide one, and it will be directly up to this ADA ramp. The request of the township fire official, John Drucker, who we contacted, was to provide a striped fire lane at the front entrance. You'll see here, shadowed here in yellow. It's a hatched door area. It's meant for no parking fire lane. It'll be painted in that manner. As per John Drucker's comment, and also by the requirement of the NJDEP, we had to provide a signed pedestrian access walk at the rear of the property with bench seating. That's shown right here. We were a little reluctant to do this, but it was required by the DEP, so we provided them with this walkway, and it's right here at the back. There's a little turner, a little bulb here with a piece of benches and a little sign that'll be listed what type of plantings are out there and what the site environmentally is there. It actually triggered another permit. If you believe it, but-
Quick, there's their wedding picture.
Exactly.
The limousine, there, get the limo.
Can you address the stormwater management of the site?
Yes, I was just going to talk about landscape and lighting more briefly.
Go ahead.
Okay. The site proposed a landscape with mixed ornamental trees and shrubs. Plantings are proposed within a bio-retention swale, which I will get into a little more detail when I talk about stormwater management. But as part of the requirements for the DEP, we have to provide water quality treatment for the runoff, and we have a bio-retention swale, it's a non-structural BMP. There's also an above-ground detention basin with a sand filter at the bottom. I'll get into that a little bit. All these areas are going to be planted with wet tolerant plantings so that they adhere well and take. There will be a business sign mounted directly on the front of the building. It'll meet the size and lighting requirements of the township. The architect will describe that in a little more detail.
No freestanding sign.
No freestanding signs are proposed, just not mounted on the building. The proposed site lighting will consist of a variety of LED building and pole-mounted light fixtures throughout the site to meet the foot candle and coverage requirements. The lights will be controlled by time clocks set to turn on and off at hours of operation. The areas will be lit up for security purposes and set to dim during the non-operating hours, and that will probably request of the board engineer will comply with that. And I'll get into the drainage now. Trying to talk fast, so
You're doing good.
the topography of the property slopes from north to south, or back or front to back. So the entire property pretty much slopes from Route 36 all the way to the back, which naturally causes the critical areas. You have the wetlands, you have the flood areas, you have the creek that's rolled over, sheet flows. The elevation range is 9 foot to 3 foot, the vertical down, NAB 88, which is consistent with the FEMA map. The portion of the site to develop, the portion of the site to be developed is fairly level, believe it or not. It's a higher point of the property, and it's above the wetlands and the floodway areas.
For the most part, that's currently cleared, isn't it?
Correct. This is pretty much, as I mentioned in the existing condition plan, that's the only cleared area of the property. It looks like at one point there may have been something there. We don't know historically what was on the property, but there's nothing there now. And it's just a vacant area that's fenced off. The proposed impervious lot coverage consists of the building, rooftop, pavement, sidewalk areas for a total of 0.52 acres. 0.43 acres of the impervious is directed to the above ground basin. 0.09 acres is directed to the fire retention swale, which is right here. Since the proposed development will increase impervious surface by more than 1/4 acre, it's classified as a major development in accordance with the NJDEP or Advanced Rule 7.8, in accordance with the residential site improvements RSIS and with the township ordinance. The stormwater management plan that I'm about to describe, as I mentioned earlier, has been reviewed and approved already by the NJDEP. And we obtained various permits, as I mentioned, for this submission, and they were included with the submission. The charted site, including the building top and rooftop, and will drain directly into these proposed storm pipes and into this above-ground detention basin. It's got a trapezoidal shape, a sand filter at the bottom. As I said before, it will be planted with vegetation. The area off to the east side, which is located partially within the floodway, we weren't allowed to fill that area with any dirt. We had to pretty much match existing grade for the DEP. That's why we have the bioretention swale located there. It naturally lets the water sheet flow off the pavement, collects into the bioretention swale, and filters the water through the media, which I'll get into. The only portion that really drains to that swale is that 0.09 acres, that about 0.09 acres. The bioretention swale is accommodated to the size of water quality storm. Any overflow spills will be yard inlets that are located within the swale, and the inlets are connected via the perforated storm pipe to the outlet control structure. The outlet control structure at the basin is designed to cut back to regulate the flow from the water quality storm and from the other off-site runoff, and it discharges it to a flare end, which is just at the top of bank of the Monmouth Creek. So the water will dissipate hopefully into the sand media, and shouldn't be much runoff at all, given the soil conditions, which I'll get to. So in summary, with regard to water quality, I just want to go over these requirements for the benefit of the borough engineer, the planning board engineer. So with regard to water quantity, since the site discharges the tidal waters, peak reductions are not required in accordance with NJC 7:8, section 5.434. With regard to water quality and non-structural methods, the proposed bioretention swale has been designed in accordance with NJDEP Best Management Practices, Chapter 9.1. The system consists of the soil bed planted with vegetation, with an underdrain. Pollutants are treated through the process of settling and uptake, filtration, and by the vegetation itself. The pollutants are also treated with the soil bed through infiltration. The engineer for the planning board would like us to just put on the record that this provides a TSS removal rate of 80%, which is required for the water quality storm. In addition to that, the above ground detention basin as well has a sand filter at the bottom, and of course with the DMP chapter 9.9, the TSS removal rate is also 80%. Those two proposed non-structural methods are 80% TSS removal. Regarding the groundwater recharge, the main portion of the site, I can't get into too much depth with this, but it's considered PA1, which is Metropolitan Planning Area PA1, and the majority of the site is considered previously disturbed, or previously developed, as the trees are most clear in that area. So groundwater recharge is technically not required in that area for the DEP stormwater management rule. But there is a small portion that did trigger this pedestrian access hole that they asked us to add, in addition to a small area of bioretention, which did create some disturbance in the tree areas, very small areas, but nonetheless we had to account for that. And given the calculations that we had done and the type of soil that's on the site, it resulted in a zero requirement, but at the end of the day, as I mentioned, we're providing recharge with the swale and the basin, so we're exceeding that requirement regardless. We had the soil testing done on the property by M&Z. The soil investigation at 4 test pits at the site. Permeability testing was taken. There's a rate of 5.2 inches per hour. K3 infiltration rating, which is very good draining soil. The report also indicated modeling at test pit 3 within a layer of sand, starting at 11 foot below grade. The conservative seasonal groundwater table of 6 foot below grade was used for the groundwater conditions. That's an important fact that we're going to get into with regard in the engineer's report. Based on the above, the fact that the applicant has already obtained approvals for the DEP CAFRA, individual permit, freshwater wetlands general permit number 11, a freshwater wetland transition area waiver reduction for the construction of the project, fulfill the stormwater management improvements, meet all the requirements of the state RSIS and the township land use ordinance. And additionally, just to close, the applicant providing a new well for the primary water service, located right here at the back of the building. They're also proposing new underground water service as a secondary measure, as backup, which leads to, which is connected directly at the main, which is at the front of the property here. Sanitary sewer and gas services are proposed to connect that to existing mains located in front of the property as well, shown here. Electric service will be fed underground from the nearest utility pole, right here in the front of the property, coming in the back of the building. And all cleaning agents that will be used for the car wash will be eco-friendly. They've been certified by the EPA. The wastewater from the car wash will flow to a channel drain. The channel drain is located within the tunnel of the car wash, and it is connected, it's designed to collect all of these sediment and drain it into a tank that's just outside the car wash at the front here, at the front of the building, just under the drive, the front entrance drive. And that tank is designed to meet the requirements of Township of Middletown Sewer Authority, which one we've already made application to, and they reviewed our plan. That approval is pending the approval from the planning board. So we're going through, we went through most of their comments and addressed them, and no comments were issued by the health department at all.
Let me quickly have you go through the planners and the engineers' reviews. Starting off with the planners' review. Page 1 of that review basically is informational, and then we get to additional planning comments. You've already commented on number 1, variance, and why we need a variance. Number 2, site operations. Mr. Marshall has specified to sidewalks. We're not proposing sidewalks, and we're in agreement to make a contribution. Is that correct?
That's what I understand, yes.
Okay. And parking and circulation, you've already discussed that. Landscaping and environmental, you've also discussed that, but maybe you should take just briefly describe why we're looking for some waivers from the landscape requirements.
Okay. We go through all waivers.
Actually, I don't think we need to go to the street trees. That's a fact that that waiver is required. The plans know the sewer easement,
That's correct.
which is what's creating the hardship. I didn't have a problem with that at all. You require a waiver of 4 feet landscape around the perimeter of the building. Again, looking at this, it's a technical thing. You can't, it's a hardship.
Constraints of the property prohibit us.
Right. And then the only thing that just say yes is depicting the wetlands, wetlands buffer, transition buffer waiver. So if the plan doesn't show it, that as long as you provide that, I'm okay with it.
And we can agree to that.
Are there sidewalks either on the properties on the west or east side?
There is no sidewalks.
There's no side, and it's
As a matter of fact, there's a bridge culvert right here.
Oh, that's pretty area.
We've already provided this one regarding refuse management. Architecture will be Mr. Honduras. You've already testified as to flood hazard areas and the outside agency approvals.
One item, we're asking for a waiver for this storm pipe for concrete. We're proposing a high-density polyethylene pipe, which is ASTM certified, meets some loading requirements and so forth.
The board has granted that waiver in the past. I don't have any issue with that.
And going to the,
We keep proving that. Shouldn't we change the ordinance?
I think it's, yeah, we're in the process of doing that GDP ordinance.
Thank you.
The only one, there's a board fence detail, right, that's the fence.
Yeah, forgive me, that was omitted because when we applied to the NJDEP, they actually requested us to remove the fence because it's in a floodway, so I have to remove that detail in the plan.
with regard to the engineer's letter, we're going to go through, I'm only going to hit the points that we need to discuss. Other points we agree to comply with, that's the recommendations. Section A, project description is simply a description of the project, doesn't require discussion. Section B, compliance, we're in agreement to comply with those requirements.
Yes.
Section C are site requirements layout, and I believe that we are complying with, or prepared to comply with all of those requirements.
Yes.
And section D, traffic, you've already addressed that we have the DOT approvals.
That's correct.
And you're indicating that the acceptable levels of service are met. And we also discussed the grounding of vehicles will be internal to the building.
That's right.
Vehicles, that's it. Section E, the drainage and grading.
I would touch on all these, Mike. The only one that I want to point out, there was one comment which the board engineer and I had spoken about, which happened to be comment number 8, which we were requesting a waiver for. And the only reason why is because after we had gone through the entire permitting process with the DEP, they very carefully reviewed the stormwater management system, all the soil testing, the seasonal high water tables, and they had agreed to what we had done here. So the design waiver we're asking is for the separation adjustment that the engineer would have.
Okay, and then 9 through 15, we're in agreement with, complying with that.
Yes.
Number 16, again, we're requesting that waiver, that's the pipe, the RCP.
Yes.
And 17 and 18, we're in agreement with. E, landscaping, you've already described the waivers that we're requesting with respect to the landscaping.
Yes.
And with respect, with the exception of the waivers, we're complying with the technical requirements. And that's all the way through until we get to the section. Well, let's go to
Number 4 is number 4 in that section. Mike, we're asking for a waiver. I think that was a landscaping waiver again. Again, talk about trees in the front of the building and so forth. There's a waiver for number 8, which was 54622 E10A. Again, it's similar to the same to number 4 because of the same block constraints.
Right.
So all those things are design waivers you're requesting in terms of landscape.
That's correct.
Correct. And just briefly, what landscaping are we proposing? Because
Well,
they're not just not there with landscaping, we're proposing landscaping.
On this plan, I added the landscaping for visual. You can see we're proposing, not only into the exact species of plants and shrubs and trees, but there's a mix of ornamental trees, evergreen trees, shrubs, plantings that are wet tolerant within the basins themselves. So there's a really detailed list on our plan of all the different types of, there's an assortment of plantings that make it look really, really nice. And we tried to keep a lot of those plantings, even the perennial plantings and whatnot, even though the DEP was asking us to put the pathways in, we pushed them back a little bit, just to border the pathways.
Can I ask that set that's all colored, can you just mark that whole set and hand that in? Because it's not part of the plans.
Absolutely.
Right? And all those sheets have colored markings on them?
Yeah, I just highlighted some, but I could absolutely give them all to you.
Yeah, why don't we just mark the whole set?
Okay.
A1.
A2 and A3.
However you want to.
Got it. And,
Okay, there was a question
We're
about,
running out of, there's only 5 exhibits allowed.
And A2 sheet of rendered plans. Is that rendered plans?
You can hand them in right at the end, so whatever they say, they say.
no problem giving it to you.
and under E12 was
Maybe not too many 5 notes.
testimony regarding placing the building machinery and equipment. And all machinery and equipment for this building are going to be internal to the building.
That's correct.
And then going under environmental, you're agreeing to comply with those comments. Is that right?
I think it's pretty much a statement. We provide copies of all the approval letters that we received from the outside agencies, including the DEP permit plans.
And then under miscellaneous, we're in accordance with all of those.
That's correct.
With the exception of number 6, which is the board on board fence, which is not going to be provided.
We're just going to remove the detail.
And that's all of the comments to the engineer's letter, and I will put the questions to this witness.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
How many vacuum area? You have 4 spots. Is it a paid vacuum? By that I mean you put a quarter in there. Okay.
Yeah.
Is 4 spots enough for that? Because I figure sometimes I would think with business you might need 6. I don't know. It's what do you think?
The main reason is because of the buffer. If we didn't have to have that buffer area, we would have put them all up front most likely.
We're dealing, as you can see, with the landscape buffer in the front,
Right.
the wetlands buffer at the rear. We had a transition area, and a riparian zone on the side here, so it really limited us to what we could do, and also trying to keep the amount of impervious lot coverage down to a minimum so we could address the stormwater management.
So you couldn't add 2 more, I'm just saying for business
The only reason why I didn't do that, I'll be honest with you, is because of traffic reasons, actually. I was more concerned about a vehicle backing out this far down into the oncoming vehicle exiting the car wash. So I kept the vacuum spaces as high up above this exit door as possible.
That leads into the question I was going to ask. So if you come out of the car wash and you make a right, and then you realize like, oh, I don't actually want to, how do you fix that?
Well, in that case, you know, there's a stop condition here, so someone would have to back up and gate turn out here. This is a one-way.
That's how you turn.
Yeah, that's right. And it's wide enough, believe it or not, with a nice wide, it's 41 feet. It's just a nice wide area there for people to make a decision.
Those vacuum spaces, are they within view of the driver exiting the car wash? So if the spaces are full, they would see that and we continue to make a left versus
we felt-
go through the K-turn routine?
That's correct. We felt they were enough in view, so if someone looked, they see the basically would fall.
Thank you.
I have a question. You said that contaminants go into a tank at the front of the building? Is that right?
There's a sediment tank which was specified by Homestead, our coordination with Homestead. It's a little green, it's a green tank right here, right at just at the front of the building, and purposely located there because they asked us to put our sanitary sewer lateral coming out the front,
Okay.
and that has to be in line with the sanitary sewer lateral. If the sediment settles down, the bottom of the tank, and any overflow goes out.
Okay, and, well, I guess the DEP is satisfied with nothing getting into Compton's Creek, so there's no argument there.
That's correct.
What did you say the BFE was for the property?
Elevation 12.
12, and it's at what?
The elevation of the finished floor here, we're at elevation 8.6 at the entry door. So all of our mechanical equipment, the DEP allows you to have a building in that area, depending on the type of use that it is.
Right.
All the equipment, any special habitable spaces of the building have to be up well above it. So our mechanical equipment is at elevation 18.
Oh, that was my question. Okay.
We got a platform.
No, I have nothing further for this witness.
Any other questions for this witness? Any other from the public? You good?
Thank you so much.
Mr. Chairman, next witness is Mr. Conduras. I have three questions.
Sure. Please raise your right hand. Swear testimony about the board should tell you the truth of the God.
Yes.
And your full name and business address.
Anthony M. Conduras, Condouris. Business address is 20 Bingham Avenue, Ralston, New Jersey.
And your
I'm a licensed architect, state of New Jersey. I testified in front of this board and many other boards. So,
Board accepts.
I have two questions. Mr. Conduras, you're the architect in connection with this case, and you were asked to prepare the architectural renderings in this regard.
yes.
And that rendering that is on the easel there, the color rendering,
Yes.
that was prepared by you or under your direction?
Yes, it was.
That's what this applicant is proposing in terms of visual.
That's correct.
The board has any questions architecturally, we're prepared to entertain them, otherwise we're going to go back.
Any questions?
I have one question. The sign has to be 10% of the front facade. Are you complying?
Yes, we're allowed 180 square feet. I believe we're actually going to be under 100 square feet, so we'll comply.
And if somebody who's been working on this one, whenever you're up to before. As the Dallas one document.
You're good before.
I got that.
Oh, I'm good.
You're good?
Peter remains. Please raise your right hand. Swear testimony about the board should tell you the truth of the God.
Yes, I do.
Your full name and that business address.
Allison Coffin, COFFIN, 14 Hilton Drive, Washington Township, New Jersey.
And you're a planner, licensed planner.
Licensed planner, I'm AICP certified, and I'll be great since my coach comes back.
Board accepts. But you gotta get closer to the microphone.
Oh, right, closer to me, that works.
All right.
Would you describe the application in your analysis of this application with respect to the variance issue?
Sure, the applicant is proposing to develop the property with a car wash. This is in the B3 zone. This is a conditionally permitted use, and the applicant meets all of the conditions for this use. There is one bulk variance that's being requested, and that is for buildable lot area, where 2.5 acres is required and 1.21 acres exists. It's my opinion that this variance can be granted under the C1 hardship standard. The need for this variance for buildable lot area in this case is due to the existing conditions on the site. The lot itself does exceed the minimum required 3 acres for the zoning and for this use. It has a total lot area of 3.7 acres. However, as this property has a significant portion of the lot containing wetlands, this reduces the buildable lot area to 1.2 acres, as has been permitted by the NJDEP. But this is an existing condition which cannot be altered by the applicant. They can't delete those wetlands from their property, and therefore there's a clear hardship that would result from the strict application of this section of the ordinance on this property that would render it unusable. The application could also be granted under the C2 standard. The variance advances the purposes of the municipal land use law with regard to purpose A, which is to encourage municipal action to guide the appropriate use or development of all lands in the state in a manner which promotes the public health, safety, morals, and general welfare. Purpose C, to provide adequate playground and open space. And purpose D, to provide sufficient space in an appropriate location for a variety of uses, including commercial uses. The benefits of the variance in this case include advancing the purposes of the municipal land use law and permitting the appropriate use and development of the site while protecting the environmentally sensitive areas of the property. There's no detriment associated with this variance. This is due to existing features on the lot, and despite having a smaller buildable lot area, the site can accommodate the proposed car wash use without requiring any other variance relief.
This use isn't inconsistent with the uses around it.
No, it's not. The variance requested would not impair the intent and purpose of your master plan and zoning ordinance. The use is permitted, the intensity of the use is permitted, and the variance relief is an existing condition. We're not creating a new lot that has an insufficient buildable lot area. So no use of the property in this case would be possible without this relief. I think the waivers have already been addressed, so I want to spare everyone here and go through them again.
Any further questions? Questions? So, without granting the variance, nothing would be done.
That's correct. I agree with that. It is a C1 hardship.
I just want to ensure we're all in agreement with it.
What was here before? I mean, somebody said that they didn't know we have any idea what was on this property. I mean, not 36, it's a commercial property. We just don't know what it was.
I don't know.
We just make something up.
We can look at historical area.
Yeah, that's.
If I could just make that comment.
Yeah, we reviewed historical aerial maps dating back to the 50s, I guess, is also the clarity. And there was nothing shown there, but there was a curb cut there. You have the curb cut. But it's something mobile, we just don't know.
I think they used to have,
Sandwich truck.
no, they used to have a fishery in there. They used to smoke fish. I'm dead serious. I think it was around 1950. I was smoke lighting. I don't know if anybody knows what lighting is, but they used to have smokeries well on Route 36 there, many years ago.
Too late.
I felt that older than 30.
It scares us.
I know. Well, I'd like to make a motion that we accept the plans for for the car wash, for west side car wash on Route 36.
Roll call.
Mr. Days?
Yes.
Mr. Rapton?
Yes.
Mrs. Snell?
Yes, and it's nice to have new business on 36.
Yes, absolutely.
Mr. Gray?
Yes.
Mr. Colangelo?
Yes.
Mr. Mercies?
Yes.
Mr. Abigangelo?
Yes.
Mr. Burson?
Yes.
Mr. Zapicki?
Yes.
There you go, sir.
Hanging in there.
Thank you all so much for keeping it for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Good job.
Good job.
So, we have to... All right, everybody, keep in mind, we've agreed to the special meeting for the 17th. The 18th. Thank you for having us here, everybody. Same time, 6:30. Motion to adjourn.
better